Hey, Mitch Man. Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. And Merry Christmas to you as well, Mitch Man. Let me just really quick say that this week has been absolutely insane. So I apologize about talking about doing a 4090 build for the last couple of days. This one is one that we were planning on doing today. We have multiple 4090 builds we're going to be doing. So the one that I originally wanted to do yesterday, planned for, I'm going to have to do on Thursday at this point. I know, I'm sorry. But we are going to be doing Dominic's 4090 build here today. So I'm looking forward to getting this built for Dominic. We've talked about this build for a while, and we're finally doing it. So Dominic, I hope you're here. You can always chat Dominic on the YouTube channel, just in the live chat there. If you have a YouTube account, I'm pretty sure you could chat through there. So you can always ask me any questions during the stream. If you do have any, just feel free to drop a question in the chat. But I know it's late. We are getting started late because we had several customers coming in and out here picking up their last-minute Christmas builds that I was slammed with over the weekend. So everything has been picked up and everything has been delivered as of today that was supposed to be a Christmas gift. Hey, Kanye West, Band 69. Yo, ordered my long-awaited King 95 Pro today. Cool. We're actually going to be building in a King 95 Pro today. Kanye. Blah. So this is all going into a King 95 Pro. But awesome. I'm glad you found a good deal. Was it within the price range that you were looking for? But yeah, this week has been absolutely insane. Today I had customers coming in and out. I actually literally, 20 minutes ago I had a customer here before I started the stream, because I wanted to start the stream around 8 o'clock, but I still had people coming in and out of here after 8 o'clock, all the way up until 20 minutes ago. Hey, Robert Fixit, fancy. I know we're doing a 4090 build finally. Is there controller support for PUBG, Ben? Yes, I think so. My friend refuses to play on keyboard. I'm pretty sure PUBG has controller support, I think. I don't know, actually. You got it for 170 Canadian, which is like 115 US, free shipping. That's actually a pretty good deal. 115. Is it the Pro? Yeah, you said the King 95 Pro. King 95 Pro, $115. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Yeah, usually they're around 160 bucks or 140, somewhere in that price range. Wait, I need to change into a suit and tie for this one. Yeah, I almost did, but I'm already wearing the white Empower hoodie, the white Empower swag, and I thought, I know the green screen will do a lot better with the white hoodie versus a black one because the background is mostly dark, so it'll pick me up a lot better and it'll stop looking like I'm coming in and out of the Matrix with the white hoodie. So here we are with the white hoodie. It is very warm in here too. We will try and figure it out. Yeah, let me know. I don't know if PUBG has controller support or not. I'm actually not sure about that. Yeah, I got it off a sketchy Canadian website, but they have actual stores located in Canada, and I read reviews. Should be fine. Well, good luck with you. Good luck with that. Robert Fixit. I checked my mailbox. Still no Empower merch. Ooh. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one, Robert. Let me know what you want in the store, and I'll send something over. Seriously, go drop me a link of the merch that you would like from the store, and I will send it to you, Robert. Drop it into Discord for me. That'll remind me. So I'm hoping Dominic's here. I haven't seen him in the chat yet. I'm pretty sure he is watching on his tablet right now, his iPad. Hey, Ant-Man. Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Tuna. Also, I don't know if I told you. Welcome back to the Build Show. Oh, you mean slide in the DMs? Yeah, just slide right into the DMs. I don't know the lingo anymore. I still say text me. Like, that sounds like a boomer now, right? Am I considered boomer now when I say text me? Order it through FedEx Ground. Not sure how long it'll take to ship, but was planning to build a week from now, so hopefully it's there or here then. Yeah, I mean FedEx is usually pretty quick, so even their ground services are pretty quick. Are AIOs for GPUs worth it? For a bigger card maybe. For a small, like anything less than a 4080, probably not. I mean, it's enough. It gets enough cooling out of the air cooler that's on it. Then, so I'd say 4080 Super and up maybe. Might be worth it a little bit, but then again, if you have enough airflow in your system, it shouldn't make that big of a difference. It's more about the consistency. Ultimately, if you're water cooling your 4090, for example, it'll make it so that the 4090 on air cooler will probably spike in temperatures, but then come down pretty quickly. Whereas that would be air cooled. Water cooled would probably spike about half of the temperature, because it would be already tackling the heat from the liquid before it even got hot. So it's a little bit ahead, so to speak. So that probably helps your 1% lows on thermals, if that makes any sense. In my head, it makes sense. I don't know if I explained it well enough. I'm tired. Don't judge me. Am I old enough where it's used to be PM's private message? Yes, I said private message a few years ago, and somebody called me a boomer for that, and I was like, dang. I guess I have to stop using that one. Should I invest in an AIO with a King 94 Pro? I mean, yeah, the case is set up for a AIO. So that is the design. That's what we're going to be doing here for this build. Which, by the way, let's go ahead and jump into it and get started, because it's already 10 o'clock here, PMs. 10 o'clock PM, Eastern time over here. It's getting late. This is going to be the last build I do before Christmas. So, Dominic, this one is for you. Here we go. All right, so the CPU we're going to be building with is the Ryzen 9 7950X 3D, which is a 16-core, 32-thread, 5.7 gigahertz max boost with the AMD 3D V-Cache. So this is the flagship of the 7000 series CPU. It's an absolute great CPU. So one thing I will call out here, and Dominic and I were actually just talking about this over the phone just before the stream, this is not actually his exact CPU. His CPU is still on a FedEx truck somewhere. And it's not getting here till Thursday. So I'm going to build with this one that I do have here, just to get the build stream done, and then I will be swapping it back out afterwards. So, because when you're running a business, you have to track all the serial numbers. So all the serial numbers get tracked. So I have to make sure his CPU that I ordered for him with his serial number is in his system. So number matching. That's where that goes. So we will be doing that later on Thursday, off stream after the fact. Thermalright AM5 contact frame. So this guy right here is our contact frame. I know it doesn't look like much, but this actually helps a lot with the thermals and helps keep the thermal paste off of the sides of the CPU. So it's very useful. I may not put this on until after we get the new CPU here. The actual CPU, so I might leave this off so I just don't have to deal with it, because I'm going to be removing it anyway when we get the new CPU. That's one thing that I might do different, is I might not put the contact frame on until I get the other CPU in, which isn't that big of a deal for the system itself when I go to do the build here. Next up, we're going to be cooling the CPU with an Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, which is a liquid AIO cooler. It's a 360 millimeter AIO. This one's ARGB black version, but it's got the 360 millimeter radiator. It's got the three 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans. And to your point, Kanye, is this cooler is going to be at the top of the King 95 Pro, the AIO radiator. So that's the design of the case, really is meant for an AIO. And then, last but not least, or not least, we're going to be putting the CPU on a Gigabyte X670 Gaming X AX V2, which is a fantastic motherboard, and we have a Gigabyte matching GeForce RTX 4090, which, by the way, this was very hard to find a matching set of motherboard and graphics card. I prefer to do the matching set like this because of, number one, the aesthetics, number two, the simplicity of the software, because I'll be able to manage both of these devices through the Gigabyte Control Center under one piece of software, which makes it easier for Dominic in the future if he wants to update drivers or make sure the firmware is updated for both of these devices. This simplifies it by going with the same brand. So finding a 4090 to match this motherboard was very difficult, but we got it. And we didn't pay nearly as much as I thought we were going to. I thought we were going to be well over $2,200, but I think we're around 2,000-ish. So, but I mean, that's just how it is right now for these cards. They're just stupid expensive right now. Stupid expensive, but still worth it in a way. So we didn't spend $2,500 on our cards. That's a good thing, because that's just dumb. Let's see here. King 95 Pro is king. Best case ever, Tat says. Yeah, I'd say it's one of the best. It's probably it's definitely in my top 10 favorite cases this year. Top 10. Montech sells the same fans they have in their case, if that's what you're asking. Wait, Tattoon just ordered mine. Is there AIOs that match the Montech fans, or if I get AIO, will it not match? So Kanye West, if you buy a Montech AIO, their fans will not be the same, but you can buy those Montech ring fans. They do sell them separately, so you could buy a set of 3 and just replace the AIO fans, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's keep running through the build here. We do have, like I said, the RTX 4090. We have a total of 64 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 megahertz CL30. So that's two 32 gig sticks, G.Skill Flare X5 series. So that's this guy right here. We've got the two 32 gig sticks, making 64 gig total. And then we also have a 4 terabyte MP44 M.2 NVMe SSD by Team Group. This thing is a super fast drive, so it makes the load times a lot faster than you'd probably experience on some of the older drives. Yeah, he's in Discord. He's on Discord, Tat. Alright, and then to power this beast, we have a 1200 watt Thermaltake power supply, which is 80 plus gold, and it also has a PCIe 5.0 specifically for the 4090, so we have that correct connection for the card, that sports card. And then the case, of course, that we talked about already is the Montech King 95 Pro. So, guys, you guys ready to do this build or what? I'm sure Dominic is. That is actually a good question. I don't remember what his name is on Discord. I would remember it if I saw it. If I looked at it, I'd be like, oh, that's him. All right, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's get this build going. It's going to be a late night if we don't get this thing rolling. It's already going to be a late night as it is, so. All right, Gigabyte X670, here we go. Okay. Now here we go. Sorry, it's been like that all week, guys. Hey, we're gonna do a stream. No, we're not. Hey, we're gonna do a stream. No, we're not. Hey, we're gonna do a build. No, we're not. I am sorry about the whiplash this week. I apologize. Don't need that. Okay, here's our X670 motherboard from Gigabyte. This thing is massive. You guys want to get zoomed in on this? There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start by installing our Ryzen 9 7950X 3D. This thing is a beast, or the capital ship, so to speak, in the 7000 series lineup. And again, you will see some thermal paste on this because I have ran this CPU, this particular one, for testing and benching. So this is my 7950X 3D that I currently have on the shelf that I'm borrowing just to get through the stream here. So ignore the extra thermal paste on the sides if you do see it. His is coming on Thursday. But here we go. It just simply drops into the socket very nicely. This is a hammer mechanism. Again, normally in this situation, I would remove these 4 screws and then go in and replace it with this contact frame. But in this particular situation, I'm going to leave it stock because I'm going to be removing it in a couple of days anyway. When the his CPU arrives, I'll be just replacing that anyways. So that is why we're doing this. I'll put his contact frame over here with his stuff. And I'll set this over here for me for later. Okay, so next up is our RAM. This is a G.Skill Flare X5. There's 64 gigs here. Each stick is 32 gigs. It's 6,000 megahertz for the speed, and its timing is CL30. So this is some super fast RAM, and 64 gigs. It's pretty hard to use 64 gigs today. 32 is easy. 64 is definitely plenty nowadays. But we're going to be putting that in slots A2 and B2, which are the 2 slots that I'm dropping it into. There we are. And just like that, we have the RAM and the CPU installed. And we're going to move on to our SSD, which is the 4TB M.2 NVMe SSD by Team Group, which is an MP44. It is not the German machine gun, as much as I wish it would be, because those things go da-da-da-da-da-da. It's fun, but fun shooting at, you know, in the range and whatnot. But the MP44 is a super fast SSD. I think it's got 7,400 megabits read and 6,800 on the write. I highly recommend these drives. They're a little bit less expensive for about the same performance of a Samsung SSD. Their caching is pretty good as well. So if you're doing large data transfers, which if you have a 4TB SSD, most likely you're going to be doing large data transfers, it'll help with that. We're going to be installing the SSD right here into the underneath this heat spreader. So I'm just going to remove this one screw, and that will get us access to the M.2 slot, which is located underneath here. And then here's our 4TB MP44 by Team Group that's going in. We kind of insert it on an angle slightly, just kind of letting it do its thing, and then we'll push it down after it's slotted all the way in and latch it with the little latch here. and then we'll peel our cover off of our thermal pad, flip it back over, and put our heat spreader back on top of the SSD. This heat spreader will help dissipate the heat off the SSD, and then it will passively cool with the airflow in the case. Okay, let's see what the chat's saying, because we are at a point where we're going to jump over to the cooler. Mounting brackets for the cooler. Hey, what's up, Onra? You're late, but not too late. No, you're not that late. What's up? Welcome back to the Build Show. A friend told me that Crucial T500 is the best for gaming. Is that kind of true? Actually, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Crucial. You know, I'm probably a little critical on it, but the main reason why I'm not a big fan of Crucial is because I'm a LLC, I'm a business, and every time I go back to warranty a Crucial product, they send me through this business route, and then everybody over at Crucial gets confused that I'm a business. I don't know what the deal is, but it's too much of a headache for me. So I've just stopped buying Crucial, because anytime I've gone through their warranty as a business, not as a consumer, it's been a headache. So I've just avoided Crucial, simply because of that. Versus, you know, Team Group, I contact them, I say, hey, I've got this drive that's bad, here's the serial number, here's the invoice that I purchased it, and then they just send me out another one. It's super easy, and then I send back the old one, or the bad one. That's a good reason, yeah. It's Lenovo. Oh, you guys are talking about Tatuna's build over there? Yeah, he was talking about it. We actually talked about that. But I mean, the fans are up top, so it's going to be really hard to see them unless you like crouch and look down, or look up. Crouch, look down. Crouch and look up, and then you'll see them. Just like in this build, this is going to be the Arctic fans, so it's going to be like light shining down on the build, which is going to look really cool. And then you really won't notice the difference in the fans, just based off the angle. It's going to be hard to see it. And yeah, Tat's fans are super fast, so he can move some air with those ones. I'm watching a 7950X3D, so is this the 4090 build? Yes, this is. This is a 7950X3D that we're putting in here, and the 4090's over here for it. So yes, this is one of the two 4090 builds we're going to be doing. The next 4090 build, the Asus Tough one, that one's going to be on Thursday. So I had to do a little bit of a switcheroo because of time. So time constraints. So here we are. We're doing Dominic's 4090 build tonight. Hey Dominic, what's up, man? Welcome to the Build Show, sir. I hope you've been watching. Welcome. Dominic is over there on YouTube if you wanted to chat with him, who is getting this built right now for him. So Pimp Daddy himself is here. Dominic Tatutuna says you are Pimp Daddy. That is your nickname currently. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the mounting brackets for the Liquid Freezer 3 by Arctic. This is the AIO. That was not the actual price, but pretty close to it. These things have become magical leprechauns lately, and they're becoming more and more difficult to find and get within a timely manner. I don't know why. Might be because they offer the AM5 offset mounting. So when we're going to mount this cooler here, it's going to mount it actually on an offset, centering up on the hotspot, which is down here on the CPU, the lower side of the CPU. So this centers right up on the hotspot, and that helps kind of keep it cool. Does a great job. Thanks, awesome. What monitor are you using with the 4090, Dominic? Well, I think he's going to be primarily setting this up for X-Plane. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, Dominic, and I apologize if I'm wrong, because I've talked to probably 85,000 people this week. But I believe he's setting it up for X-Plane 12. which specifically, if you guys are familiar with X-Plane 12, Samsung PLED 48. That is a beast of a monitor. But specifically with X-Plane 12, it really matters about the CPU. That's where it really matters. And typically, 30 frames is actually really good in X-Plane 12. So you're going to see some, hopefully better frames than that, but it will definitely help out with some of his performance issues he currently has with his current setup. You should see a pretty big difference here. I'm just going to move this AI over here because we just need the mounting brackets, that's it. So all of our hardware is in this nice little box. And specifically, we just need the AM5 mounting hardware for this cooler. I was right, it is X-Plane 12. X-Plane 12 is basically a flight simulator. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It's similar to Microsoft Flight Sim, except I think there's a little bit more to it. It's a little bit more complicated than Flight Sim. Maybe I'm wrong. I've actually never flown X-Plane 12. I just know a lot about it because I have a lot of people that come to me and ask, and then I've done deep dives into the X-Plane 12 world because everybody wants, hey, let's go to the guy that's supposed to know all this. So I had to learn about X-Plane 12, how it uses the hardware. That's more so what I know than how to actually use X-Plane 12. But X-Plane 12 really does like the X3D processors, so this one will do really good for him. All right, so we have mounting hardware for this cooler. So we're going to take the stock brackets off. I just realized we're going to have to take these off as well when we get the new CPU. It's all good, because they will be overlapping it. I forgot about that, but it's okay. An extra 5 minutes. So these little black studs go over the studs. The stud that goes over the stud. Like so. And then we have a indication on here that says right or left bracket, but you can see this is not centered up right here. And this is actually where the cooler, so this is your offset mounting. So it's going to offset the block of the cooler to the center hotspot on the CPU, right? Yeah. The monitor is awesome. Nice. Oops. No, that's right. There we go. We've got our right bracket installed. Now we have our left bracket, which I'm going to just drop the screws through the holes to have them ready to go. And then we drop our bracket in. You can see why I'm going to have to remove these to remove this bracket later to put that contact frame in later. There we go. We've got both our brackets installed, so those are good to go. Ready. I'm going to keep this for that. Okay, so now we've got the motherboard prepped and ready to go. We can actually get the case out and get this motherboard installed into the case. You guys ready for that? Okay, here we go. Right now I have quad monitor set up. Nice. Quad is cool. I've got quad monitors here as well, except mine are all over the room. So I've got 2 at my desk. I've got 1, well, technically 2 over here at the stream. So mine are just all over the room for the stream setup. One's mounted on the wall here and one's here. That way I can be here, but still have a desk for my stream PC, but still be over here and monitor everything, and pretty cool. All right, let's get this case out. Oh boy. So this is the bottom. Has a beautiful nice mesh under here, but it's a good opportunity to kind of show you the bottom of the case on the back. You can pull this filter from the bottom back because it does have all your intake fans on the bottom here. So there's going to be quite a bit of dust build up probably on this filter on the bottom, but that just pulls out, slides back in. Just to show you the mechanics of that, Dominic. So you can keep the dust out of your system, and it keeps it easy to maintain and clean it. And same thing with the top panel that we're looking at right here. If you just grab the ledge and lift up, it just lifts right up and off. These are just push pin clips. And again, this is all filtered, so you can take this outside, take this off, take it outside, blow it out to keep it nice and clean. So makes keeping the system clean very, very easy. So the maintenance is very easy on this one. Now, to get into the side panel, we'll have one screw on the back top side right here. So just one thumb screw. It doesn't require a Phillips screwdriver or anything. You can do it with your fingers. And then you have this little lip here where you lift and then lift up. So you pull it away from the case and then lift up, and it will release it. You can see the 2 hinges there on the bottom that it kind of grabs the side of the case to mount push pin clips, and then the screw to put it back on. Very easy. Very easy access to the glass. Right now it's got a bunch of film protection on the glass, so it looks a little foggy. So you can peel that when you get it. Now for the front panel, this is actually interchangeable. It includes a mesh panel, which will be shipped with it. So you can always change this out if you need more airflow. But this just lifts out just like the side panel and then lifts up. Up and out. And then finally, for the last panel, same thing as the glass side panel. We've got the screw on the back side, and then just lift it up and it will remove the panel. And again, this is all mesh, and it's got filtration on it, so you can take this off, take it outside, and blow it out, because again, you have more fans here on the side, which are intake, so it's going to draw dust on this side of the panel. You'll just have to take it off, clean it, just to keep it nice, you know. So that is how you will access the case if you ever need access. This panel I'm going to remove for the purpose of building it. You shouldn't have to do this unless you are doing some sort of upgrade later in the future. But there's 2 screws here. And then I'm going to pull the panel away and lift it out. That is how you remove that door panel. And then we have access to all of our cables that are already pre-done for the fans and the front panel connections and the RGB. All the cool stuff that's already been done by Montech for us, which makes it a lot easier. But this is the case that we're going to be building in, which is the Montech King 95 Pro. Cool? Have you ever installed a LCD monitor inside a case, and how hard is it? Yes. Yes, I have. It's not very difficult. I've done a couple of different options, a couple of different styles. So, beautiful PC case, Montech taken serious. Taking serious his stuff. Yeah, yep. Random question, what is your favorite dog breed? I mean, of course, I'll say Mr. Max. Mr. Max, here, our pup, who's not really a pup anymore, he's 7 years old. But he's right here at my feet, sleeping, waiting for me to be done streaming. So, but he's a rat terrier slash Aussie mix. So he's a very interesting dog. He's got a lot of personality for a dog. But very loyal, very energetic when you want him to be energetic, and very chill when you want him to be chill. Like right now, he's just sitting here laying, sleeping next to me, waiting for me to finish streaming so I can play with him. Alright, so here we go. We're going to drop the motherboard into the case, gently of course, and get this thing lined up. Which, of course, it lines up very nicely. And then we're going to go look at our hardware kit, which is included with the case. King 95 Pro. Dang it. Don't want to rip the packaging up. Okay, once we're inside here, we have our actual hardware kit included with our case, which has all our screws and everything that we'll need for the build. Some additional AIO screws, because we'll have to use these ones versus the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 screws, and that's because of the clearance, because of the top panel. So if you do buy this case and you are putting an AIO in, 100% use these AIO screws that come with the case. They will be the right size for the case. They will match the thread on your AIO, so don't worry about that. And it will make it so that your top panel will close completely. If you don't, there's a clearance issue with some of the other screws that come with AIOs. So make sure you use that. There's another SSD tray that's included, along with the manual, of course. And then that front panel that I was talking about, which is a mesh front panel. That's included, so you could swap that out if you ever wanted to do that for some additional airflow. You can also install 2 additional fans on this panel, which is really cool. So it's got the mounts for 2 fans, I think, right? Don't they? I've seen that advertised. I've never actually done it, but I've seen it advertised. Maybe not. I do not see the holes. But I thought you could. Anyway, I was just curious. Alright, so enough about that. So that's the hardware that's included with the case. Whew. Oh, I believe it's like the bracket from the side fans. Oh, so they rotate the fans. I thought you could add both. Have both on there. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. How is the baby and what is she doing? The baby is currently sleeping right now. Lethal Wick, welcome to the build show, sir. Gaming with Ant-Man, have you ever installed an LCD monitor? We already touched on that. Yes, I've installed LCD screens, like I said, many different types. There are several different types now. They're pretty cool. They're not, you know, super difficult, but I don't know. Most of them are pretty easy. I love Huskies, but they are drama queens. Yes, I actually grew up with a Husky, so I am very familiar with Huskies and their personalities. They also like to get out and go. They don't like sitting around. They like to go and do things. Yeah, you can have both. It has the double bracket. Oh, so is that what that separate bracket was? I thought that was like an extra SSD bracket. I didn't look that closely into it. I do see like screws here for something, so that's probably where it mounts. Makes sense. I knew that. I just never configured it so that we had the front fans before. Everybody prefers the glass, and usually with this configuration of the fans, it's enough airflow. You don't need the extra airflow, generally. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Get our hardware kit for the case, and we're gonna get this motherboard officially mounted to this case. We're going to mount this bad boy. I mean, the amount of hardware that's included with this is awesome by Montech. Everything's labeled and so organized. I love it. One of 9 screws completed. This is our LTT store screwdriver that we're using today. We're trying to see how many builds it lasts. And so far, what are we at like now? I don't know how many builds we're at. I keep trying to remember the number. I think it's like 58 or something like that. So we're like 30-ish. By the way, corgis are the best breed. I've never had a corgi, so I don't know. Okay, so now that we've mounted the motherboard, we can now go ahead and tackle the front panel connectors and also get our EPS cable in, and then we can install our AIO. And thankfully, our power supply is a modular power supply. So I'm going to go ahead and get the EPS cables out of this box so that we can get those installed so that it's less of a pain for me later when we install the AIO. Does that all make sense? What if one day you woke up, everyone has aged 20 years, but you're still the same? Everything is normal to them. I don't know. I'd be very disorientated and confused. I would have been like, I don't remember shipping Dominic's computer. That's what I would be like. I'd be very concerned about that. And then of course I'd be concerned about missing a bunch of my daughter's lives. I would be very sad for missing that. All of my 3 daughters that I have, I'd be very sad. So here's our Thermaltake 1200 watt 80 plus gold power supply. All the modular connections on the backside, the fan. We'll be putting this in a little bit. Not quite yet, we just need the cables. Which our cables are in this bag right here, Thermaltake. Which is a bag inside a bag. $1,200 It is a beast. Yeah, I gave him a little extra just in case he wanted to switch over to a 5090 later. We gave him a little extra headroom. Just a little extra. So here's our 24 pin. May as well just go ahead and throw that in there since we're staring at it. And then our EPS cables should be here. There's one. And 2. And we need 2 for the X670. I have an 850 watt. When I connect my phone or tablet charger, it says is connected to low power source. Is that normal? That's probably just the draw from the motherboard. So even though you are plugged in and you have a power supply, you're not plugging in directly to the power supply, you're plugging into a connection on the motherboard, that which then has to be processed through the motherboard, then through the power supply to ask for the power. So you're limited by what your motherboard is allowing on that port. So that is why. And I don't recommend charging things off your motherboard. I don't recommend charging any device on a computer. So if you plug in your phone to your computer, I don't recommend that because it can actually damage the motherboard just from the constant draw of electricity. You just wear things out quicker. There's one EPS cable, and then we'll stand it up and fish the cables through the back. So basically, we're going to make this huge rat's nest of cables on the backside, and then we'll clean it all up. I don't know. Two EPS cables. Go. We've got our EPS cables here, good to go. I'm going to kind of keep it like so. When the AIO comes in, we'll have to route it, kind of fish it in. Alright, so the rest of these cables we'll deal with when we go to do the power supply. So let's get the rest of our front panel connectors plugged to the motherboard. Plugged into the motherboard. Which are all of these guys. So we've got our USB 3.0, our USB-C front panel, our HD audio, and front panel connector for the power button, etc. Fish all the cables through, and then we're ready to plug them in. So this is a USB-C connection. It can only go in one way, and I always try to plug it in upside down the first time. But one cable there. This is USB 3.0 front panel, which will be plugged in right here on the side. We'll rotate the cable a little bit down like that, and we'll zip tie these on the back side once we finish it up. Once we go to finish it up. And then we've got our front panel connector. I know you guys really can't see this down here very well, but our front panel connector in the bottom right, or towards the front side of the board. And then our fan hub, we have a hub on the back of the board, which are controlling all of these fans here that are pre-configured by Montech. I'm going to plug that in the system fan 2. And then we have one addressable RGB header for the, again, the fan hub, and then an HD audio connection. All of these can only be plugged in basically one way. And there we have it. All of those cables are plugged in down here at the bottom, and we've got our cables here on the side. I might actually move this one to the secondary USB 3 port right here, just so that's, yeah, we're just going to do that for aesthetics. Although the graphics card would probably hide it, wouldn't be that big of a deal. This might look a little bit better. I'm sorry, I'm a perfectionist. I cannot help myself. There we go. That looks a little better. So we moved the USB 3 from the side here, down here, and looks a little better. Yeah? This particular board, the X670 Gaming AX V2, has two USB 3.0 headers for the front panel, which is awesome. Good to know. Yes. Wait, what was it? What was the question? Is there a way to charge? Oh, because of the device. Is there a way to charge devices straight from the PSU? No, there is not. There's not that I'm aware of. So, I would say just buy a block for the charger and just use it that way rather than plugging it into the computer in general. Yeah. That's just a recommendation. My only gripe with this case is that I can't figure out how to make the RGB custom colors. Nothing I download worked. But it's probably just, yeah, I think it's just your motherboard, man. I've never, ever had that problem before. So I'm pretty sure it's just the motherboard. And when you say custom colors, what are you talking about? I guess go a little bit deeper into that. Do all motherboards have secondary USB 3.0 headers? No. The majority of motherboards, unless you have a higher end motherboard, such as this one, or others, like by Asus, etc., is only one USB 3.0 header. It's nice. This is a very nice board, for example, with the O11 Dynamic Evo XL. The XL has two USB 3.0 headers in the case, because there's a total of 4 USB 3.0 ports on the case itself, and each one supports 2 headers, or each header supports 2 USB 3.0 connections on the front panel. So this case only has 2, so therefore we only have 1 connection. Color wheel, choose what color you want to fade. Oh, yeah, yeah, you should be able to do that. Yeah, no, that's definitely probably something to do with the motherboard then. It probably doesn't know what colors are available for the fans, so it's probably blocking out that color mode. The motherboard doesn't know. And that's probably because it's I think a Lenovo thing, probably. A limitation anyway. Okay, so cool. If my USB 3.0 header pins are bent, you're screwed. Yes, don't bend your pins. Usually you can unbend them, but you have limited bends in any type of metal before it breaks. So try not to bend them. It's difficult, but the connection is just designed stupidly. And same thing with the USB-C. It's designed stupidly, but it works. So, all right, guys. Now that we've got the connections all taken care of here, I'm much more confident in getting that AIO set up and installed. So without having to deal with trying to plug something in a small area that my fat hands will not be able to reach. So that is the primary reason why we build in this order. All right, we'll stand this up like it should be, and then we'll get the radiator over here out. So this massive thick bad boy, this is a super thick radiator for liquid cooling. Just like any other water loop, you've got a pump which sends the liquid through one tube, through the radiator, across the fans and the fins which are cooling it, back around through the second tube, and then back onto the cold plate of the cooler to grab the heat and send it back through to get cooled again, which controls the heat to be distributed through the top of the case versus redistributed inside the case. So we have control of where we're dissipating the heat from the CPU, which if we're dissipating the heat outside of the case, it keeps the rest of the system cooler, which is why we're going to mount it to the top and use the cooler as exhaust. So we're going to exhaust the CPU heat right out of the case instead of circulating it back into the case. All right, this cooler is extremely easy to install outside of trying to mount it to the block. Sometimes it can be a pain, the block to the mounting brackets, but super easy to install. Here's my little connectors. Yeah, let's go. I'm going to pre-install these adapters, or these connections. This has the pump, the VRM fan, because this cooler also has a VRM fan on it. So all three of those get installed, and then we have an RGB connection, which we'll deal with after the fact as well. Pump goes to CPU opt. CPU fan goes to the fan. And VRM find a good location for this one. I actually might have just enough here. Sneak that one underneath the board there. And that, I just snuck one of the cables underneath the board just to kind of get it hidden away there as I could. We'll zip tie that up when we get to it. Okay, so the rest of it, we're just going to mount. You can take this bracket off and get it mounted separately, but I'm going to do a little bit of a shortcut, not take the bracket out, and just mount the cooler by holding it and putting the screws in one by one. But I am using the Montech screws. So we have the clearance for the top panel. You want to make sure these are nice and tight for this situation because we're going to be shipping this one. You don't want these to rattle free and have a massive radiator flapping around inside a computer. So I am going to make sure these are nice and tight. I've actually had AIOs not lose their screws, but the screws get ripped through. I shouldn't be talking about this because I don't want to give Dominic anxiety. But get ripped through the brackets and then have the radiator kind of bouncing around inside the PC. I mean, when you ship enough PCs, there's eventually something going to happen. And it, of course, was the shipper's fault. UPS damaged the crap out of that system. Which, you know, we got the insurance covering it, so we just rebuilt the entire system after that. There was no recovery from it. It was like a piece of shrapnel flapping around inside of it. Here we go. But we definitely want to put in all the screws. If this was something you're just building at your house, you're not shipping it, you could just get away with like 6 screws and be fine with it. But I'm going to put in every single screw to make sure this thing is as secure as possible for shipping. Alright, so now that we've got the radiator installed, we can lay this back down and then we can block the CPU. So I'm going to use a different thermal paste temporarily, just so we can fire up the system. I'm going to be wiping this paste off anyway when I go and put the other CPU in there. So this is, I'm just going to go ahead and put some TF5 on there, or TF4. Because it's temporary, and I will be putting the Arctic MX6, this stuff here. I know we really can't see it because of the glare from the light, but this is Arctic MX6. That is what is going to go in it and go on the CPU before we ship it. Onra, have you ever been requested to build in a Thermaltake Tower 300 or 200? Yes, I have. And yes, those cases are insanely good looking. The only thing that would stop me to get one is the GPU temps. Some have issues from the orientation. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I've done builds in them. They're interesting cases. Interesting cases indeed. Why are all of the B550s are selling out despite AM5 is out? So it's because they're way more budget friendly. So the B550s, you can get for example, an MSI B550M Pro, which is a fantastic motherboard if you want to run AM4 on a budget. It's just a great option. It's like 80 bucks for that motherboard, and then you can get a Ryzen 7 5700X right now at Micro Center for 120 bucks. It's just cheap. You just can't beat it. So it's just, that's why they're hard to find right now, is because it's the holidays and everybody's building these PCs for their kids, and or you know, builders are buying them to sell, you know, gaming PCs. I think I built what, 6 or 7 within the last week with B550s. It's just a great platform for the price. That's why it's just a hot platform. Even though, you know, it's not AM5, it's not the latest and greatest, it is still a very capable platform for a fraction of the cost. So, but not ideal for X-Plane 12. How long will AM4 longevity last? Probably another 2 to 3 years, I would say, before you start seeing some major software compatibility issues, or until you start seeing manufacturers release notifications that they're going to stop supporting it. I mean, they're still sending BIOS updates for B350s, which is like first gen AMD Ryzen, first gen AMD Ryzen. Okay, we've got some thermal paste down, and now we are ready to put the block on. This guy is just going to look a little funny without the cap, so don't worry, there's a cap that will be included with this. Come on, get off. But I do want to get this plugged in here. There we are. So we just take this, mount it, or line up the 2 screws over the studs on the brackets. I peeled it. It's peeled. What are you talking about? It's peeled. I didn't forget to peel the sticker, you made me look. I'll remember that. You just didn't see me peel it. So I'll try to get one bite on one side. This is a extremely tight bracket designed to get this installed. You gotta fight it a little bit. Like right now, we are not mounted. I thought I was. What the heck? Jeez. Like I said, this one is a pain to get mounted. Joking. Ah, you made me look, man. Yeah, it's right here. For those of you who are concerned, Here's your little peel. Okay, so there's our tubes. And don't worry, this is not what it's going to look like in the end. I'll show you here in just a moment. I do want some zip ties. Here though. Yeah, you got me. I had to look. I second guessed myself after that. I was like, oh crap. Maybe I did. I'm just running some zip ties here because these cables are definitely on the front side of the build and we want to keep these nice and neat if we can. As much as possible at least. It's nice, that one just broke. Loads of confidence in these zip ties. Okay, so this is the cap, which is just magnetic, so we might have to ship this in a separate piece of packaging inside here, so it doesn't flop around and, again, become a piece of shrapnel flopping around inside a case. So anything loose is just going to be something that gets shipped separate. This just mounts right there, and you look like Tony Stark pulling the heart out. Ah! Super easy to put that in. Dominic, if you have to install this, because I shipped it, you know, wrapped up in bubble wrap, so it doesn't flop around in here. It's literally just line it up, mount it, and it's magnetic. You'll feel it. You'll feel it latch on. There you go. Now we have a cooler installed. Nice. So what's next? Is it the time? Is it that time already? Look at how big it is. 4090, that is. Let's go ahead and get this out. The great 4090 reveal. Be careful, you could get it. Yeah, I don't need another one of those. Hernia, that is. I already have one. Okay, so this thing has some mounting hardware. I always forget that they have these, which we'll install. It's massive. That is one large graphics card. It's massive. All right, so we've got some brackets we have to get installed here before we can put this card in. I'm gonna see if we can even do that, because I think that goes like so. Yeah. I forgot about these, or I would have left these screws out. Okay, so this bracket is what holds the weight to the back side of the card. Now we need to remove, this is a 2 slots. We need to remove the 2 slots here on the back. We'll prep the slot. And then we'll have the bracket go on here as well. What? We've got our tail bracket installed. Now we've just got peels to peel. Oh my gosh, come on. Thank you. 1 of 3. Excellent. Nice packaging. Hey, what's up, Steve Anderson? Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Did you hear that? Hear Gordon at PC World passed away? No, I did not. That's terrible news. I did not hear about that. I've been so tunnel visioned here trying to get everything done. But I haven't really opened up any news outlet in a while. Like the last couple days. Alright, we got those peels. There's a peel here. And the back panel has a peel too, as well. It is very important to peel those off. If we don't, we'll start smelling some weird melting plastic smells. Alright, so this goes underneath the bracket. Then we line up the gold pins to the slot, and we line up the teeth on the back end here, and then we push down. You hear it kind of click in. Now, we have 2 screws on this side to mount. So I'm just going to use my magnetic screwdriver to get these down here. Screw these in. Ooh, we just went a little bit. There we go. So I've got the 2 screws on the back side added. Now we just have 1 screw on the bracket here. Now it's got to kind of be strange to get and see this, but we'll have a little thumb screw like this, which is going to go through the bracket. And this will help support the weight of the card on this side with this big metal bracket, because it's such a heavy card. There we go. We've got a card installed officially. Look at that. Massive card. That must be a 4090. Yes, sir, it is. 7090. 7090 wouldn't even fit in this case. I know, Odra, I get that a lot. That's between you and me, because you're the only one over there on Twitch, I think. Yeah. Okay, so next we have this 16-pin cable from the power supply, which is going to plug into our 16-pin 12-volt high power connection. This is what provides up to 600 watts to the card, though we don't really want to see 600 watts on the cable. So it shouldn't actually draw 600 watts, it's just rated for 600 watts. I think 450 is the max that this card will draw. But I'm going to run this cable down and under. Like so. And then you don't really want to put a bend on it. The most important thing, Dominic, if you receive this, we are going to ship this card uninstalled. So this card, you will have to do the process that I just did, which is the 2 screws on this side, slotting the card, and then the screw right here to mount this card. The reason why is because it's a $2,000 graphics card, and while it's shipping, it bounces up and down like this. I'm doing it very lightly right now, but if it bounces enough like this, and shipping, which of course will have packaging in here, but even so, it will still bounce. And if it gets enough, you know, bang, it'll actually come out of the slot and again become a piece of shrapnel inside the computer. So this we might ship uninstalled in the packaging inside the case. So you might have to go through and install this, which I could walk you through the entire process. And you have this video to reference. If you ever go back to the video, you can reference it. But it's the 2 screws on the side here, and then the 1 screw down here, and then this power connection, which we plug in, which will be somewhere around here, waiting for the card. You'll want to make sure that this is fully seated. It is very important to make sure this is fully seated. So just push down on it, make sure it's seated all the way. Just examine the sides, make sure it's flush, the connection. If not, what happens is, because this card can draw up to 450 watts or up to 600 watts on this cable, it can cause some arcing, and arcing will cause heat, and heat will cause melting of this connection. So we want to make sure that we just have it all the way seated. That is the only thing that's super important about this power connection. And then we don't obviously want to bend this cable as much as possible. We want to keep it so that it's just free flowing there without as much bend, with as little bend to this connection as possible. Because if we bend the cables too much, it'll pull the pins from the connection and again creates arcing. So that's just a technical explanation, but overall very easy to install this card. It's just 3 screws, and I can walk you through the entire process over the phone if you feel comfortable doing that. But that is why we ship it uninstalled, just because the pure weight of the card will overpower the weight of the board and its connections and its supporting brackets. So to make sure it gets to you in one piece, Dominic, we'll ship it separated so that there's no damage to it. It'll be like new, brand new when you receive it. We just have to install it. Me to next year, I want to upgrade to the 5700X 3D, but I need a Peerless Assassin. Yeah, I mean, if you order it now, it'll be here next year. Right now with the Peerless Assassins. Steve Anderson, hey, I got a 32 gig Asgard RAM for 48 bucks. MSI B550 Pro motherboard for 110. So aim for is strong still. Yes. Killer deal, definitely. Working on a 5700X 3D. I too want to get into an X3D chip. I cranked up the fan speeds on the lower ones. It helps so much for cooling in higher res FPS with cranked graphics. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Okay, so the last thing we got to do is install a power supply. And of course deal with some of these connections here. But for the most part, we're set up for just having to deal with the power supply connections, which is our 24 pin, our EPS, and our 16 pin 12 volt high power. That's pretty much it. And SATA cable here, SATA power. So for the power supply, very easy for us to install. I'm going to peel this peel off of it so it doesn't come off and get stuck into a fan blade or something. Not likely it would, but still possible, and I have seen it happen before. And we could peel this too. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get the rest of these connections plugged in that are loose and available. I'm going to plug in all of the available cables, even though it is a modular power supply, just so it's easier to ship, and that way Dominic will never have misplaced a cable because it will be in his system already, and it will never run off and disappeared. Hey, good morning from Greece. Welcome back to the Bill Joe, sir. Robert Fixit, I joined the Discord. The real question is why Was I not there before? I don't know, man. I don't know. But welcome to the Discord channel. Robert, fix it. It is a cool place to hang out, share your builds, ask questions. I drop deals that I find in places. We make fun of marketplace listings, etc., etc., etc. And then we game every now and then there too, when I get some time. If Dominic has enough money to buy this, I'm pretty confident that he is totally capable of installing this little baby. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I just like to talk about that as much as I can, so that way he has something to reference in a video if he wants to go back and look at the video, and then I could also assist him over the phone. It just makes it easier in the video for him. That was Onra over on Twitch, by the way, that said that, not me. 1080p with this 3080. Nice. Just calling it out, man. Just calling it out. I read it out loud because I'm reading the comments out loud, apparently. All of them. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and get our 24 pin plugged in here. So this is our 24 pin to our motherboard. This is going to go down. So we want like this. Okay, so now we've got all of our cables plugged in here. We're going to do some cable management, of course, get this mounted. And where did that go? And then we could fire this thing up and see what it looks like. So we're almost there, Dominic. I hope you're still with us. I hope you didn't fall asleep on me. I know it's getting late here. We're at 11:30. I'm feeling it too. I learned only to use Windows 26 years ago. Jeez. Am I that old? Yes, I love both of these cases. Makes this job a lot easier. Hey, Dad Bods. Thanks for the raid, man. The total power is 600 watt with the GPU. Yes. Lola Bunny. What's up? Welcome to the Build Show, everybody. I think we have 2 songs going at the moment. What's up? Welcome to the Build Show, Dad Bods, Drop Shot. Yo, Merry Christmas, dude. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody else here. And you as well, Dad Bods. We've got multiple music tracks running in the background right now. The PC is clearly working. Nice. I'm glad we got it all figured out. Love all of it. I don't know how long it's supposed to play that. Is it still playing that? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. It was still playing it. Man, that is such a long track for raids. I didn't realize it was that long. All right, here we go. Music's back. How have the builds been? The builds have been good. The builds have been good. Steady stream of builds this last week. Dominic's good. Awesome. Yeah, the builds have been pretty good. We've had quite a few for this week leading up to Christmas. We got all the Christmas builds done, and everybody's picked up and everything's shipped out and is making it there before Christmas, if not already there, that we've shipped. And then for Christmas builds, people specifically asking me to make sure it's there before Christmas. I'm assuming it's supposed to be under the tree for that situation. And then we're doing Dominic's build tonight, which is the RTX 4090 build. That we've been talking about, and then we've got another 4090 build on Thursday. So if you guys want to tune back in and check out a awesome 4090 build as well, another one from start to finish, because Dominic's here is almost finished. If you guys want to hang out, you'll see this thing finally fired up here in just a few minutes. I just have to finish this cable management and then we can fire it up. But how was your stream, Dad Bods? How was the stream? Sounds like the PC's working pretty good now. Not that he'll ever be using this PCIe connection here. The other 4090 is using the 12-volt high power connection. I'm putting it there in the system in the event he needs it in the future. A little bit of cable management magic, and then we're firing this thing up for the very first time. How do I want to do this?
I want to do the price.
Hopefully we didn't just close everything. Shoot. Alright guys, while I close the chat, you're gonna have to hang out for a second. Okay, crisis averted. Music is a little loud. Roger that. That was, of course, after I adjusted the volume. There we go. That should be a little better. Sorry about that. It was good. Just did some chatting and gift wrapping today. Nice. It's been a really rewarding 6 weeks since I've started, though. Nice. Nice. Steve Anderson, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Happy New Year. My brother's friend told me for a new PC build, the Ryzen 9 7900 must be, you must buy a 1,000 watt power supply. Nah, you don't need a 1,000 watt power supply for a 7900X. What do you think? I want to buy a 750 watt or 850 because of all the parts. It would all depend on your it would all depend on your wattage, the wattage requirement for your graphics card also. So it just depends on your graphics card. But the 7900X does not require a 1,000 watt power supply. I think it's like, any idea what would cause the headphones to be stuck in mono audio mode? Even though if the mono is turned off, maybe it's not plugged in all the way. Tet. It sounds like it might not be plugged in all the way. I don't know. Maybe slightly unplugged if it's a AUX connection. Okay, we are trying to make this work. I don't know that we will. We're gonna have to feed it this way. Ah, shit. That one missed. The user are supposed to be over here. I thought. Maybe not. Get out of my way. Maybe not. Okay. I won't fight it. I'm not gonna fight it. Doesn't want to do that. I'm not gonna fight it. There we go. Some cleanish cable management. It's about as clean as it's going to get there. Pretty rough with all the extra cables. All right, time to put this thing back together and we'll fire it up for the very, very first time. I might come back and fix that one little cable there. Just somehow got around the power supply there and it wasn't supposed to. Not that it's the end of the world that it's sitting there, it's just the perfectionist inside me is dying if I leave it. Okay, so the only thing I am going to do is leave the side panel off for the reveal. The great reveal. That way we can see through the glass side panel, etc. So I will leave that side panel off. Get you guys a side view here. And then Dominic, if you are here, I'm going to need you to tell me when to push this power button. So get ready to tell me that when you are ready. All right, side view, here we go. All right, Dominic. I present her first present will be a 4090 and a 9800 X3D. So Ben, this must be the first Christmas you for your new baby. Yes, this is the first Christmas with the new baby, which is girly girl number 3. So I've got 3 girls. I've got a 12-year-old, I've got a 3-year-old, and then I have a 8-week-old baby now. So 3 girls, lots of weddings to pay for. Light it up! Dominic says, let's go. We're going in 3, 2, 1. Punch it! I told it to send the RGB to the motherboard so it all runs well. So the flashing that you see is actually the flashing of the RGB on the fans in the GPU. This particular GPU has RGB on the fans only when it's spinning. Sorry. So we're just waiting for the memory to train. So it's doing some memory training. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Build Show. What a beauty. Thank you. Thank you. Success. Oh, there's some RGB right there. Oh boy. So it just finished its memory training and now it's going through the post cycle and it just posted on the screen here. So we've just got a successful post. Post is power on self test. That is a standard procedure that every system does to check to make sure the CPU, the memory, the RAM, and the graphics card or whatever is used for display is working, and then it goes to boot, which then sends it to the BIOS, then the BIOS tells it to boot to Windows, etc. So we just got a successful boot post. That's what that red light is. It's indicating we have something on the screen to push, which I do have to tell it to reset the FTPM, and then we'll be in the BIOS. Yes, it is an exciting time in our lives right now. Wait till they're a little older. I think you get better and better with every computer you build. Well, thank you. Did I do a good job with this one? He is always successful, even when he isn't. Success. Yeah, sometimes I'm, depends. When I'm on the struggle bus, it's just funny to watch because I just start bumbling around like, I don't know what to do. I eventually figure it out. LOL, Steve. He did almost 800 last year. Where were you then, too? Yeah. This guy has experience about PC building. I have a little bit of experience. Yeah, I've built a couple. Built a couple PCs. Now, last year we built so many during the holiday season that I didn't want to look at another computer for like a week. I was so done building PCs because there was just so many that we had to build last year. This year it wasn't as crazy. Definitely wasn't. Which I'm kind of happy about because it's, we've had a lot of service PCs in here, people bringing PCs in for service, so that it's kind of balanced out that way. That graphics card is big. Yes, it is massive. It is the RTX 4090, and it is the capital ship, so to speak, of the NVIDIA's lineup right now that is currently available. 5090 is going to be releasing here soon, but I mean, for X-Plane, this will do pretty good for it. So, turns out the mono audio issue was she plugged the cables in backwards. In her IEMs. That makes sense. So there you have it, Dominic. We've got it built. Now I just got to finish the software side, which is Windows install, do all the BIOS updates, or BIOS update, get the XMP profile set, etc., install the drivers, and then run it through battle testing, which is the testing that you and I kind of talked about. So we're going to run through and test everything to make sure. And I won't do the testing or the BIOS update until your CPU is here. So I do want to do all of that with your CPU, since that's what's being shipped. So I won't proceed with anything further on the build until Thursday after the CPU arrives. But as long as the CPU does arrive on Thursday, like we discussed, then I should have this ready to at least package and ship by Friday, and then hopefully out the following weekday. So, which would be Monday now at this point, because of how it's landing between the holidays here. And UPS doesn't come pick up on a holiday, unfortunately. I work on holidays, but sometimes. Like, I'll probably have a few questions Saturday morning when kids are opening up their presents and their computers and mom and dads are trying to plug them in. They'll probably have a question about where the monitor goes, or I plugged it into the onboard video. Why am I getting a black screen? And then I'll have to direct them to plug it into the graphics card versus the onboard. Just simple questions like that. That we get a lot of those questions on Christmas morning. So I'm sitting there answering the phone on Christmas morning, trying to help. Because the last thing I want is a kid opening their present. It's a gaming computer, firing it up, finding out something doesn't work, you know. So I have to be available for those questions. Super job. Yeah, awesome, Dominic. Yeah, I'm super excited about the build. It turned out amazing, just as well as I was kind of envisioning it when we were putting it together. Just an awesome selection of parts, so I think X-Plane's going to run very nice for you. And yeah, it should last you for years from now. Should last you quite a while. So I look forward to keeping you posted on when that CPU arrives, and I'll get that straightened out, swapped out, and then I will let you know when this is going through its next phase, which is the battle testing phase, and then we'll move on to getting it ready for shipping, which is packaging it all up and making sure it's picked up by UPS and on its way, which then I'll send you over the tracking information so you can track it. Yes, all of these lights inside here are customizable, Dominic, so you'll be able to adjust all the lights from the software, which is going to be the Gigabyte Control Center. So you'll be able to control all the lights from the Gigabyte Control Center, and if you wanted to shut them off, you can actually just go into the software and shut them off. Tell us again the specs. So this is a Ryzen 9 7950X3D with 64 gigs DDR5, 6000 megahertz CL30, 232 gig sticks, total of 64, which is G.Skill Flare X5, a 4 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD by Team Group. It's a Gen 4 drive. It's the MP44 by Team Group, and then we have a Gigabyte RTX 4090. 24 gig, 384-bit PCIe 4.0 card, as well as the Montech 95 King 95 Pro for the case, and then a Thermaltake 1200 watts, 80 plus gold modular power supply that's PCIe 5.0 ready and ATX 3.0 ready. And then the cooler is an Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, which is a 360 millimeter ARGB black version. So super, and oh yeah, the motherboard is a Gigabyte X670 Gaming AX V2. It's a lot to say. So those are the specs in the build. I bet the fans on the GPU are not even moving. Yeah, right now you don't see... Actually, it's moving because we're sitting in the BIOS, so it'll move while we're in the BIOS. They spin the fans. GPU, it's the RTX 4090. RTX 4090. Much appreciated. You're welcome, Dominic. Let me know if you have any questions leading up to the shipping, but we should have this, like I said, shipped out. I feel like we should have it no later than Friday. Worst case scenario, it goes out on Monday. So, and that's of course dependent on our current weather situation here in Michigan, which is everything is ice, and I doubt anything's going to travel on a UPS truck when everything's ice. And, you know, at least it's happening during the holiday, which they're not moving anything on the holiday anyway. So, we'll see how it goes. It should be here Thursday. That's really what the big holdup here is that CPU just taking forever to get here. I was very shocked when I found out it was not here, and I actually was pretty sure I saw it come through, but I was wrong. Apparently I saw something else, so when I was putting all the parts in for your order and setting it up, prepping it for the stream. So, all right, guys, that is it for the build show tonight. I hope you enjoyed this one. We will be doing another 4090 build on Thursday night. So definitely tune in for the next RTX 4090 build, which is going to be built in a Leon Lee Dynamic Evo RGB case with Leon Lee fans and Leon Lee coolers and the Asus TUF 4090, as well as the Asus TUF motherboard and an Asus TUF power supply. So all sorts of tough things happening there. So really cool build, just as cool as Dominic's here. So I'm looking forward to that other build next stream, which is on Thursday. So thanks again for joining us and hanging out. We'll see you, Dominic. I'll stay in touch. And everybody else, have a good night, and we'll see you on Thursday. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. We'll see you guys Thursday after the holiday. Have a good night. Merry Christmas.